Okay, we're going to talk some cricket now. Not a pleasant story to deliver. Azeem Rafiq, the off-spinner who spoke out against racism at Yorkshire Cricket Club in England in 2021, says he has been forced to leave the United Kingdom because of threats and abuse received since he gave evidence of the racism he endured while at the club in 2021. Azeem told a British parliamentary hearing that English cricket was institutionally racist as he detailed his experiences at one of the country's most prestigious cricket organisations. Since Rafiq spoke out, there have been changes in Yorkshire's leadership, with several current and former players and coaches reprimanded. Rafiq says, however, that at times he has feared for his life walking down the street. He returned to Parliament on Tuesday, telling MPs that he hasn't felt the full support of the England and Wales Cricket Board, saying he has gotten 24/7 security in the last few months, but he has been forced to leave. Let's take some excerpts now from Rafiq's presentation.
In touch, as you'll see in the document that I've handed in, to corroborate a lot of what I've said. People have got in touch to apologise, and that on a human level has meant the world to me. I've also had a platform and an opportunity to speak and hopefully help these things being eradicated and hopefully make better throughout society. I think the downside and the difficult bits that have been that my family has been the target of abuse, threats and attacks. Recently, my family house, there's a bloke in broad daylight who basically walked in and out of the garden on the phone before defecating, bringing a loo roll, and it looked all very planned. We had another incident where a gentleman late at night was circling with what looked like a chain in his hand. And really, if I was looked at 13 months on from me opening my heart out, all that's changed is really that me and my family has been driven out of the country, and that's the sad element of it. I always want to see glass half full. The difficult thing for me is what I see is, you do the same things, you get the same results. There was an action plan in 1999. There was an action plan last year. The same PR initiatives are being rolled out. The same community faith organisations being activated. But actually, it all feels very superficial at the top. The recreational game hasn't even been looked at. One of the things why I spoke out was so other people didn't suffer in silence, and we're going to hear from Jai there, Jai, and a lot of others that have felt empowered. But the way I've been attacked and abused, why would you? Why would you speak out?
Azeem Rafiq there, who is forced to leave the UK because of the abuse that he is suffering. He outlined some of his issues there, and it's a very sad development in this story, Donald, because when he first came out, I think the general feeling among onlookers was that it was good that he was bringing to the fore some of these horrible issues in cricket in Yorkshire, and to see, as he has just said, that it hasn't really moved the process forward. In fact, he is now forced to run away because of the abuse and the threats on his life, which is, far worse than just abuse.
You see, I have a problem with us as a society, and I hinted at that yesterday in terms of we're always trying to look for personalities, and we always try to, take down individuals, right? And yes, individuals should be reprimanded if they do terrible stuff. In the aftermath of him speaking in 2021, quite a few persons lost their jobs. One of my favorite commentators, actually, Bumble, David Lloyd, actually lost his job with Sky Sports. Funny enough, he has since said, Rafiq has since said that he didn't want that, especially in the aftermath of Lloyd actually calling him and apologizing and saying that, he did view it from his point of view, how it would have affected him, what he did. But our society's obsession with killing people, so to speak, ending careers and saying that is a solution, really doesn't make any sense, especially when we come to a point where it will continue. And I'm not a fan of that at all. I think there should be more thought given to systems being put in place, as opposed to saying, okay, he did this wrong, which is institutionalized. Well, the racists will go as if that will solve racism. It won't. And more needs to be done. And every time someone says more needs to be done, they're looking at the person and say, okay, what else do we need to do to him? Should we kill him? Should we hang him? No, that's not what I mean by more needs to be done. More needs to be done in terms of putting things in place, educational-wise, and other stuff to just make sure that we nip this in the bud, that we plant something new to the psyche of people all over the world. So racism doesn't exist, and that's not going to happen if you just fire one commentator or if somebody else loses their job. That goes nowhere. And we see that it goes nowhere because we're back at square one, where he's been threatened on the street and he has to leave the country. Just because he probably came from a worse situation in Pakistan means that, okay, you're better off now, you're lucky to be here, just live. Can't do that.
Yeah, but you know, one of the issues that I find very, very troubling in all of these stories is that it comes from the sporting angle, because Yorkshire Cricket Club is now under pressure with all of the revelations coming from him. But this is a national issue. It's not a sporting issue. You know, because we do a sports show, we talk about the racist abuse, the sports stars and so on. But this is a national issue. And it is just being reflected in the sports environment when these stories come up. But the fact is, England is facing an issue with that, because it is not in sport alone that this happens. It probably is more advertised to us as sports journalists, and the stories will be dealt with from our standpoint and through our lenses. But the fact is, it is a national issue in England, not only in England, but we're talking about England here. And I've heard John Barnes say the same thing, you know, that they keep talking about the football racism and players being abused and so on, but he's looking at the wider society, because that's where the problem is. It isn't at the Yorkshire Cricket Club.
Yeah, and of course, Yorkshire, I can understand the pride that comes with being a part of that institution, because they were very defensive before, right? They understood that this would have sent them down several pegs into the eyes of the public, not just in England, but internationally, because of course they recruit cricketers from all over the world to play for their club. So it would have been a terrible advert for them. So they went defensive first, and because of that, out of that came the smear campaign, and then the smear campaign against Rafiq would have seen outsiders or normal individuals take it personally. And, you know, of course, Rafiq has done stupid things as well with anti-Semitic comments that he also made. But that doesn't change his message, because he isn't the only one that was abused or bullied. That doesn't change the fact that there needs to be change. That doesn't change the fact that racism needs to be eliminated. Forget the messenger, although he's very much hurt at the moment. His family has been affected. But come on, man. Like, something needs to be done. And I'm tired of the virtue signaling. I'm tired of people taking a knee before. That doesn't do anything. Taking a knee don't do anything. Writing a strongly worded letter doesn't do anything. We need to nip this in the bud and change the system totally. That's what needs to happen in order for change to come about.
Well, this story has really taken a very sour note, because some months ago, the last thing I would have felt was that Rafiq would have felt that he had to leave England. And that's where it's at the moment. Back with more of The Zone after this.